All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna check out its local and city search. Actually, combined this time. See if it has BSS. So we're back here in the GBC universe, where we take declining boudoir photographers, turn them into the #1 boudoir photographers in their city. Our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that and whatever pinned post, pinned video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if we're falling, we're missing somewhere on this, intent ladder. We're not capturing the amount of people we need to at each intent step or intent level. So we see over on the left, BSS. That's what we talk about here. That's the highest intent people doing, social search, Google search, and then over on the right, the lowest intent people. That's BLCS. That's our other brand, Boudoir Facebook Ad Doctor. That's what we're working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand per month on their boudoir Facebook ads. But BSS, that's what we care about today. So care about the highest intent people right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1, and we're invisible. We're basically dead. And that's because that means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past the first page. That's literally page 1 only. So those 20%ers, we don't care about them. We want to deal with the 80%. 80%ers, the bulk of people. Now, 1 slot on page 1 also is not good for us because we look like everyone else on page 1. If there's 9 other boudoir photographers and everyone's got 1 link, then the searcher, the buyer, is simply going to click, literally click and opens everyone's website, contact everyone. We don't stand out at all. Probably won't even remember our name. So boudoir search sameness, boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Extremely common, but it's not normal is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. First deeper root cause is market saturation, which most know about. The second one is the false belief of page 1 equality, which most people do not know about. Now, the market saturation, it's for, seems like every week someone gets a new iPhone, they throw up their Google My Business profile, and they say they shoot boudoir, they got their website up, they're competing with us to rank on page 1. Basically, more boudoir photographers over time competing for the same number of buyers, so it makes it harder, more difficult for everyone to compete. So that's consistently pushing people out of page 1 onto page 2, and effectively invisible to 80% of searchers that never even go to page 2. Now the new one here, we got the false belief of page 1 equality. This is new because people have kind of auto-accepted it because there's never really a word to describe this. And for people to say, oh, I agree with that or disagree with that or I think it's true or false or whatever. But the false belief of page 1 is equality is basically assuming, getting 0 or 1 slot on page 1 of Google is the default. It's the norm. Everyone either has 0 slots or 1 slot, and maybe you had 1 slot on Google page 1, but market saturation puts us off to page 2. So all right, we got 0 slots on page 1, we got 1 slot on page 2, and all right, that's how it is. That's how being a boudoir photographer is. But no, actually, we can actually take as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the work for. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in 10 days. So this kind of page 1 equality assumption or like default belief, default assumption is 100% incorrect, which, we'll see in a few more pictures down here. We also know that a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, it's kind of like the canary in the coal mine. I mean, if you got 0 slots on page 1, you're definitely disappearing. 1 slot on page 1, probably also disappearing as well because there may be some other people that got 2 slots on page 1, and we're not at 1 slot. We're not standing out at all. We're basically invisible. We're being price shopped against everyone. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine where once someone becomes a disappearing boudoir photographer and they don't fight against it, then pretty soon, eventually, the entire business disappears as well. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine of what can happen in the next future in the business. So BSS, luckily we got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology. We invented this, been working on it for about 7 months now. We're liking the results so far, so we're bringing it to market. And to utilize S-cubed methodology, remember it's social search saturation. So we saturate search on Facebook search, Instagram search, TikTok search, YouTube search with what our, people searching for boudoir photo shoots would be typing in. So we show up there. And once we do that, that actually flows over to Google. So saturating social search actually flows over to Google kind of as a byproduct, giving us multiple links on page one. And again, I went from 0 out of 10 links on page one to 9 out of 10 links on page one for what I wanted to rank for in 10 days. And so the magic about this is the only way someone can use this is if they crash, if they destroy that false belief of page one equality. Because once we use S-cubed methodology, and once you actually see these results I got, we'll realize, oh, that belief was actually false. Page one equality is not the norm. Google actually will give us as many links as we want to put in the effort to acquire, as many page one links. And so the second magical thing about S-cubed methodologies is it's the only thing I've seen that actually fights back against market saturation. So imagine if there's, we're a boudoir photographer in LA, and there's a total of 1 million boudoir photographers in LA. Everyone's got their own website. So everyone's, fiercely competing to be page one on Google. But imagine we take the S-cubed methodology to the extreme where we rank so hard for the highest intent keywords for people searching for boudoir photo shoots. And, we absolutely crush social search saturation, where literally like the first 300 slots of any and every search related to boudoir is us. So it's around all the social platforms that flows over to Google. And let's say the first 300 organic results on Google are only us as well, because we took S-cubed methodology to the max. So the fact that there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers actually doesn't matter to us, because for the first 300 slots, anywhere somebody looks for a boudoir photo shoot in LA, we're the only ones there. They got to go down to slot like 301, and Google is, 10 organic slots per page. So they got to go to page like 31 to find another boudoir photographer. So whose business is still doing great? Ours, even though there's literally 999,999 other boudoir photographer competitors. So this is one of the special things about S-cubed methodology. It's the only thing I've seen that actually, builds momentum and helps us compete against market saturation. That can happen relatively quickly. The only other second thing would be brand. People doing branded searching for our brand specifically, but that takes years. So this is something that happens way faster than years to build a brand. And now once treated with S-cubed methodology, we now have page one visibility. So we're actually seen on page one, even though, we may have had one slot on page one, we're still kind of invisible. But with page one visibility, we got 2. Well, we go for the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here for local search and city search. But the added bonus is every new slot we take up on page one, we are kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible, because approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They stay on page 1. And as a result, kind of as we take 4 out of 10 slots, 5 out of 10 slots, 6 out of 10 slots, people searching for at least the 80%, the big chunk we're going for, they can only price shop us or compare us against, 2, 3, 4 boudoir photographers instead of against 9, because they ain't going to page 2 anyways. And so this is one of the other bonuses. It's actually kicks our competitors out of basically being found. Now, page one visibility activates Boudoir search visibility for us. Yeah, because we're no longer at a 0 or 1. We're no longer at 0 1 slots on page one. And Boudoir search for yep. So we're actually standing out. Well, 0 1. And we won't get to 3 because there may actually be someone else that has 2. I mean, 1's most common, 2 is kind of rare. But if we got 3 out of 10, we're ultra rare. And we're definitely standing out against people that have 1 slot each, and still standing out against people that got 2 slots. It's probably only one other person. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. And this is our university disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Once we accept page one equality is false, now we know, okay, now we can tackle it, we can solve it. The only thing I know that can solve it is S-cubed methodology. It actually solves, the only thing I know that can solve both false belief of page one equality and market saturation. We achieve page one visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, so these are my results actually doing, so ranking for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So that's what I want to rank for. So we got the AI overview, got the Google Map Pack. Now looking at organic. So I got organic slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. So I got 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google. And this was after I went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. And kicked everyone else off page 1. I took it over. And this is showing the power of the S-cubed methodology, where Google wants to give these page 1 slots to the people that want the page 1 slots the most, and to be relevant to the user search. So these slots are always up for grabs for everyone that wants them. So now main event here. Gonna check out this Boudoir Photography Business. Gonna check out its locals and city search. Looks like we got them combined here. See if they got BSS. So we're going to Waynesboro, PA. All right, yeah, this one was too far from like another big city. So Waynesboro, PA. All right, that's actually good. We got we'll give them a 1 for this. They got the AI overview here, ranked number 1. Nice. So we got 1. We got 2. We got 3. We got 4. We got 5. We got 6. We got 7. Yo, nice. All right, so we got 7 out of 10, insanely good. So we do not have BSS. We did meet the GPC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google search. Awesome. And we almost hit our 8 out of 10 level to say when we're dominating page 1 of Google search. We put that at 8 out of 10, but that's pretty rare. I think we've got 2 people at 7 right now, I believe. So man, this is as good as it gets here. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done a local search for the highest intent keywords for buyers in your city, in your local area and your city, and you're seeing you've got boudoir search sameness, either 0 or 1 slots on page 1. You're not hitting the GPC to minimum on page 2, and you understand, you kind of broken through the brain barrier that page 1 equality, that's a false belief, and we can actually take as many page 1 slots as we want. And you've also seen market saturation. Yeah, more people getting more iPhones, new iPhones, get new cameras who come with boudoir photographers. But you also see AI going to be taking more and more people's jobs, leading into way more boudoir photographers coming into the market. And you say, oh man, got to prepare for this big supply side shock that's coming. And we can do that by, and you're saying, oh, S-cubed methodology, perfect. That's perfect for that. It allows us to saturate social search, which then allows, as a result, allows us to saturate page one Google search for the highest intent keywords. So basically anywhere any buyer searches, we are dominating kind of the attention space there. And so you're seeing SQ methodology. You want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, achieve boudoir search visibility. You want to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 on all of the, on all of the local search and city search. And so you're seeing SQ methodology is what you want to utilize. And you're also seeing kind of the extra bonuses on the back end. Kind of the more thematic keyword columns that we create, that we use SQ methodology around the highest intent keywords, then the higher the probability that we get ranked here for AI overview for local search and city search, kind of as the only featured prominent one, because this is pulling from, thematic keyword kind of repetition, authority, age. So higher chance of achieving that with SQ methodology kind of as a back-end bonus, and higher chance of showing up in AI search. I actually have an AI search on the back-end ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, Claude, Perplexity. Because I remember last time I checked for boudoir photographers in the city, dude, it only brought up 3. So if we get our kind of our thematic keyword columns created attached to our brand, then a higher chance we show up in Google, all these AI searches. And as a result, kind of some back-end bonus. Also, the more we do S-cubed methodology, kind of the more momentum we build up against anyone else, any other boudoir photographers competing against us in our current city. So my plan right now is to only work with one boudoir photographer for a city. So we can build up all that distance, all that momentum, all these front-end benefits, obviously, saturating social search and Google page one search, kicking other boudoir photographers off. Also the back-end momentum, high recommendations, AI overview, Google search, and AI, all the different AI searches in general. And as a result, you're saying, hey, probably should be a first mover on this, because if someone else is a first mover in our city, then, and since my plan is to work with only one person per city on this at a time, then if you weren't working with me, you have to rederive S-cubed methodology on your own, kind of our proprietary method. And then even when you don't know if you're doing it exactly right, or exactly as we've derived it, then you have to equal our execution to maintain the gap between your competitor and your competitor who I could be working with. And you'd actually have to double or triple our capacity to kind of make up all the momentum we would have already achieved. And so you're like, all right, it's better to simply, be first mover on this, get prepared for AI to force some more boudoir photographers into the market. And so you're like, all right, SQ methodology is what I need. I'm ready to go now. So if that's you, shoot me a DM when my DM's open. I'm currently not open for new patient intake, but I will let you know when I am. The hospital is not currently open for new patient intake, but when I do open the hospital, keep watching these videos. That'll tell you actually when the hospital's open. Shoot us a DM and we'll see if you qualify for S-cubed methodology.